can do
Good
that.
evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock, they say, and
Somewhere.
this is the Camera Club of Richmond meeting for April 2025. Michelle Southworth is a new member, and we have 5 guests here this evening: Vic Grand, Alex McMurtry, Tom Clary, Bob Pappas, and Ro Cole. And welcome to all of you. This evening, if you did not see what the feature is, the way that this usually works, I have some introductory comments. And this evening, people submitted images for evaluations, and our evaluator tonight will be online, but we have a number of what are called assigned subjects that will be evaluated, and then a whole series of general photographs that will be evaluated as well. Laura did our evaluation last month and did an introduction to intentional camera movement, and she's going to do the evaluation tonight. Thanks to Marianne for the scheduling, and to Heidi for leading a meetup at Forest Hill. I heard that was good, and we'll see whether the images are equally good as well. Laura returns tonight for our ICM submissions. If you haven't seen the article on Ike Spinos, who's here, it's a nice feature article on Ike. He's a relatively new member. He used to be a radiologist and now is a photographer. So he has imaging skills, and he will keep after him with that. Harry did category critiques, and it's a great way to see what the judges liked in each of the categories at the end of the year. Creative art in April Southern Exposure, and there were only 13 images entered last year, and so if you get your creative spirit up, it might be a less competitive thing than some of the other categories, but it's in the Southern Exposure. It's a nice way to see that. Karen always lists the website, the Facebook group, the monthly magazine, and your gallery gossip, and all of those things. She likes these UR codes, and so if you're not used to those, that's a good link to use, and they're in the Southern Exposure thing as well. For the exhibits, there are a number of exhibits that are coming up. Theme is spring for St. Michael's. I don't know if this one in Glen Allen, the July one, has a theme. I don't think it does, but there's the Richmond Public Library that's coming up in August, and the Chesterfield Parks, and just keep your eye out for that announcement as well. Fred, where's Fred? There's Fred. Fred, absolutely.
Evening, everybody. I'm doing a class on May 13th for the professional. Hang on, that's the class here. Okay, so that's the May 13th class. We're going to work on one light portraits. I'll have some lights with me. I'll demonstrate a couple of quick post-processing tips in Lightroom that can help you. And then it's the next slide, Karen. If you can go to the next slide. I'm doing a full day class for the Professional Photographers of America, but you don't have to be a member to take the class. This is a hands-on, limited to 10 people, will take you deeper to Lightroom, organization, importing, processing, and a lot of the new tools that have come out in the last 18 months. I've gone to the point now that 95% of my post-processing now is in Lightroom. It's that easy. And so this class is designed to help folks come in, and we would love club members to be a part of that. There's still, I think, about 5 or 6 seats left in it. So if you're interested, please join.
Thanks for doing that. Fred is an expert in many of these categories and an excellent teacher. And for those of you who've not experienced his teaching, it's a good opportunity to see it, both in the Saturday event and the one in the featured club meeting. Again, education and activities with Joe Ring and Marianne. You can look in the Southern Exposure. There are a number of those that just came online just within the last week or so that keep your eye out for those things. Gina Venn passed away on March 30th. She's a longtime member of the Camera Club, and folks are sorry to see her go, of course. Laura is our evaluator this evening, retired educator, abstract photographer. She was with us at the last meeting and showed us techniques of how to do it. We'll see tonight whether people learn anything from that as well, of whether they struggled. I must confess that I struggled with that assignment, but a lot of folks did pretty well, it seems. Is Laura online? Have you got her?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. So I'll give you the microphone and the floor and let it run.
Okay. All right. So I'm thrilled to be back with you all. Let me take a moment and share my screen so I can get up Lightroom. But welcome to the ICM assigned subjects. I was really thrilled to see a lot of work went into this, and we start with this image. Do you want to say the title? Is there someone that does that, or do you want me to do that?
Sorry, I will say it. This is Alien Rave Gone Wrong.
Thank you. Lots of beautiful colors we have here. Clearly movement with the lights. Well done. And whose image was this?
That was by Saro.
Great. Okay.
This is Bamboo Forest.
Yes. And I love the way that you can see it's got the bamboo marking. The only thing I would recommend is maybe turning down the highlights just a little bit, because that calmed down the bottom to me. So then that way you're more focused on your subject. But well done with the movement.
That was by Jay Denny.
Okay.
This is titled Beadwork.
Yes, what a clever title. The colors are great. The movement's so close to being totally straight, and I actually like it that there's just a little bit of a curve through here. Well done.
That was by Patricia Munford.
Thank you.
This is titled Chaos on the Track.
What a brilliant title. This is just such a wonderful image. You clearly can see all the ICM movement here. What I really like, though, are a few places are really in focus. So to me, that tells even more of a story. Very well done. One thing that I might do is just take down the whites a little bit. And another way to do that, if you wanted to use a brush to just white out this, because you don't want to lose the rest of your story. It's got such a great story. So I would just do that. Pull the whites down a little bit there, but excellent piece here.
That was by Joe Ring.
All right, let me get that down. Okay, turn it off. Okay,
It's titled Drifting Through Tulip Dreams.
a beautiful spring photo. The motion is stunning. I wonder if it isn't a multiple exposure. The colors are bright, beautiful for spring, and a great title.
It was by Venkat Santosh.
Great.
This is Evening Rainbow.
Yes, I love this. I'm guessing the word fun is on the other side. Maybe the lights is from a fun house. And the only thing I would do to maybe pop up your image a little bit, and all I did was just, whenever I'm doing my editing in Lightroom Classic, I start with the auto button and then I play with my sliders from there. But I felt that it brought out even a little bit more of the evening rainbow. So good rainbow.
That was by Heidi Nunnally.
All right.
Laura, just a note in the chat, the tulips were multiple exposure.
Great. Thank you.
This one is titled Into the Path.
Perfect title. Walking right through, you can see the ICM movement, and my guess would be a nice little red bud tree on the side, but very well done.
That was by Carrie Gottlieb. Palms Past the Porch.
Nothing like a beach scene. I like how I can see the movement that was done there. And for me, I would just lighten it up a little bit. You got a little bit more of the color with the building, and you also got to see just a little bit more of the trace of light at the bottom in the middle. But nice scene.
That was by Patrick Murphy. Planet of Mystic Colors.
Beautiful colors here. I love the motion that I can see and all the colors. And I understand you wanted the orb. And my only wondering, and this could just be preference, but I might want to get just rid of a little bit of that blur, but that's just my thinking. You lose your shape of the planet. So, artist's choice with that.
That was by Cindy Walker. Sand Dune Sweep.
Yes. And I definitely see the sand dunes, so it's not real abstract. You can tell what they were shooting a picture of the sand dune. And I can't quite tell what that is, if it's a board or an animal. So I might just focus a little bit different on your subject with the title, excuse me, just because I can't see what's sweeping there. But I like the colors and the edge, the framing. That's well done.
That was by Ed Hageman. This one is titled Seascape.
Yes, what a serene, beautiful image. Pulls you right in with the water and the sunset. It's just gorgeous. Well
That
done.
one was by, I'm sorry. That one was by Carol Hageman.
Thank you, Carol. Okay.
This one is titled Synchronicity.
Yep. I love all of the dynamics with this, and there are so many layers to look and really see exactly what's in this image. My only wondering is if it were mine, I might want to take this out because it doesn't seem to add much to your image, but I love all the different layers. Well done.
That was by Mary Ann Barnhart. This is titled In a Hurry.
This is just a brilliant image. I love the zoom that they use, and I'm gonna go with multiple exposure because this is not out of focus. So very clever. And I know we all have had these moments in the market.
That was a single shot.
Really?
I used a Gorilla Pod with the flexible legs and attached the camera to the cart.
Oh, brilliant. And then you went running down the aisle
You're moving, yeah. People thought I was
in a hurry?
insane.
That's great. I will try that. Thank you.
That was by Harold Lana.
And this is a, oh, sorry, go ahead.
This is titled Rear Window.
That's a perfect title. I love the fact that you can see the rear window here and it matches all these vibrant colors. And I'm guessing that you took out the license plate. That was very brilliant to do that as well. But just a fun image.
That one was by Shashi Air. This is titled Double Crested Cormorant.
Yes, I love the diagonal here. You can see that the bird seems to be flying in that direction as well. And one of the things that's so distinctive about these birds is their bill. And I just love the little hint of yellow or gold there. Well done.
I actually mispronounced the name of that bird. It's a cormorant. Sorry about that.
Yes.
That was by Kemp Davis.
Okay.
This is titled City Lights.
This is really well done. I love the zoom, and what really strikes me the most are the wonderful geometric shapes that came right through. And then to add bonus, you've got the reflections here, just really captivating.
That was by Parks Roundtree. That was in camera, yes. This one is titled Burst Mode.
Brilliant lines, totally straight, whether you used a tripod or not. If you handheld, it's very well done. And I like how you have the burst of colors on the bottom, and throughout the image, you really have the gold and silver and the white. It's really pleasing.
It was by Dave Johnson.
Okay.
This is City Lights Reflected.
I love all the different colors, and it's so vibrant. And I think for me, it just makes me want a little bit more. So let's see. Sorry. Let me go back here. My apologies. Okay. This is the original. Take that away. And then I played with auto a little bit just to get a little bit more of this image. So I like this.
That was by Pat Davis. This is titled Bobby Socks Trees.
beautiful winter scene, and it is so full of a forest, and the lines in the trees are very clearly done. It's a good image.
That was by Ted Jerkuta. It says the forest is ablaze.
Yes. Nice with the black and white. And I just added a little bit more with the auto. It increased the exposure a little bit and took down the highlights just a smidge. And it's just more my preference than anything else. It kind of made the forest stand out a little more.
That was by Tony Johnson. Headed north.
Right. And I like that with these trees, you can see where the light was coming in, where it's brighter on one side than another. And, there wasn't a lot of movement here, and you really didn't need it. Maybe this person has an icon because I shoot Nikon, so I got all of the information a half of a second. It is very well done, just a little bit of movement.
That was by Dawn Hannah. Taking flight.
This is a great image. What really caught my eye were the lines that they were able to get with the feathers. And I'm not sure if it's a flycatcher or a scrub jay, but it just is really stunning. And having that be the only subject with the nice blurred background works really well.
That was by Carol Ennis. Orbit of a cube.
Right. And I like the title. The colors are really great throughout here. And my only concern, let's see, sorry, let me go back. This is the way that it was imported. And I would pull down the highlights just a little bit. And what I really want to do is get areas so it's not quite so bright and white, because that's where our eyes tend to go. So just turn it down a little bit. You can also do that as an adjustment to just this location, but I like it.
That was by Gary Kornfeld.
Okay.
Boardwalk.
This is really captivating. I love how abstract it is. And I wonder if they shot it in dark mode because there are so many dark places, and then turned it into a black and white. I just think it's exceptionally well done.
That was by Jean Boyd. Sundance.
All right. Love all of the light. I can see exactly where you got your clever title. And my only thing would, again, to pull down the highlights. You still have the movement on the water, but I think that it's just a little less overwhelming. But I love how you can see the water too. Well done.
That was by Michael Orr. Vision.
This is a great abstract, a zoom motion, and I don't know if it's a tree or a statue, but really well done. And I especially like it with the black and white because you've also got the grays in there as well.
That was by Karen Davis. Watercolored.
This one reminds me a little bit of a Monet painting because of the swirls through here. I really like the motion that you captured on the water. Well done.
Paul Bickford. Donald Bridge.
It sure is. I love all the contrast that you have between the dark side and then the light side, all the colors through here. Really well done.
That one was by Michael Bryant. Perspective.
Yes, brilliant with the title, and you can see that the earth is on its side here. So one was shot horizontal, one vertical, my guess. And I'm I'm sure it was in light mode, but you still can see the dark mode here with the branches or trunk of the tree. Very clever.
That was by Bob Altic. Pebbles Impact.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if the title, excuse me, is referencing when you drop a pebble in a lake. I can see there's a person here. Maybe they were throwing the pebble. I'm not quite sure. But I would do a little bit darker to give just a little bit more to the grass. And one thing to watch out for are the spots. I tend to do that if she was at, or he or she was at F22. But one of the disadvantages of ICM, if there's even a speck of dust on your sensor, it will come through. But clever.
That was by Jane Webb. Moving Pieces.
I really like the setup, excuse me, of this image and how ornate each of the pieces are. And I'm guessing with a zoom motion, but very clever and well done. Hopefully I didn't lose you guys.
No, it's on the same picture.
Oh, okay. And I'm sorry, who was that by?
That was by Martin Evans.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Labadee Sunrise.
This is just beautiful. Makes me want to go there. I would definitely get up early for these beautiful colors. And I might just pull the exposure up just a little bit because we're losing so much at the bottom. But it's lovely and the colors are very vibrant and beautiful.
That was by Susan Jatho Reed. A Mother's Grief.
Very fitting title. And I would just add a little bit more light so you have a little less grass so you could see the person in front, which I'm guessing is the mother that's crying or grieving. And I like the movement in the image as well.
That was by Ann Fulcher. Silent Passage.
very poignant and intense as well. And I want to keep the whites of all of the tombstones, but I just want it to be a little bit darker here. And I think in order to keep the whites with the auto, it added 10 in the whites and took away a little bit of the highlights, but very, very moving.
It's by Jerry Posino. Log transport.
Yes. And I can see the transport right here with all the logs. And I think that with this image, I would come in and crop a little bit because this aspect here is not showing any ICM movement. So I would want to get a little bit closer to your subject that's moving. That way it's the predominant focus on page on your image.
That was by Rebecca Perry.
Okay.
Dogwood swirl.
It is that beautiful time of year and a well done swirl. You can see the movement. And I like how it's not a complete circle, so you still have a little bit at the bottom.
That was by Terry Troxel.
Okay.
Purple explosion.
Great zoom and fitting title, as it is indeed exploding with the color with your zoom. And the only thing that I might do is do a little bit of cloning in the center because your center isn't purple. That's like the only part that was white. So we'll see how it does. So obviously you would do a much better job than me just doing that, but I think in order to honor your title, get rid of that little bit of brightness there.
That was by Philip Snyder.
Okay.
Gold plated.
Very clever title, and I'm not sure if it's actually a plate, something that has gold on it, but just the diagonal movement through here. It's abstract, and I don't need to know exactly what it was to see the contrast with the colors. Good job.
That was by Kurt Engelman. This is titled Dancing with Time.
Yes, and I really love this image of weathered, I'm guessing roses, perhaps, and the fact that they're not all facing the same direction. It's really well done, and I like the framing around it as well. So it really keeps your eye in the center of your image.
That was by Linda Fern Schmiel. And that
Okay.
should be the end of the assigned subjects.
Yes. All right. And I do need for us to take just a brief break. So I am a little technology challenged. I wasn't able to figure out how to upload both of the, so I will be busy. I'm gonna keep sharing my, let's see, here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing and we'll come back.
Okay, so this is titled Basket Made.
Great title. I like to think it went right in. The focus area right on the ball is great. I might want just a little bit more in focus of the player, but I like how it's definitely in motion, and that is clear that they are jumping up.
There is by Carol Hageman. Behind the Save.
What a great title for another sports image. And I love the gloves and the way that it's framing the ears. And I just don't know if having the shadow only be in part of that, if that's just me. But I think the only way to do that a little bit would be to bring your shadows up a bit and maybe even your blacks, so it's not quite as detracting.
That was by Marianne Barnhart. This is titled Very Good Balance.
That is brilliant. I think it's a cedar waxwing, and they certainly are able to balance it. The bird is beautiful with the colors, and I think just to bring down this area through here a little bit less, probably pull down the highlights a bit, and maybe even just a smidge of your whites.
That was by Cindy
And I
Walker.
do like,
Oops,
sorry, I
I'm
like
sorry,
the
Carol.
framing around it too. That adds so much, just a little bit. It just adds a lot. A good polish.
I'm so sorry, Laura. That was Cindy Walker.
Thank you.
Can I move now?
You can just picture kids saying that very same thing. And I kind of think this duck is giving you, this mallard is giving the eye, wanting to know if they could go on their way. Beautiful clarity through here, lines and the feathers. You've got the water coming off the bill. And just really crystal clear through here.
It was by Sarah. Cosmic Truck.
Oh, so clever. Beautiful Milky Way. And you can see they've got a nice reflection going through here. I can see the title, and I imagine that they had some lights that they put inside the truck here, or SUV. And just my only wondering is just this little bit, it's detracting to me. So I would probably do just a little bit of a mask to pull down that way, just a little brush. Make it through here. Or with my favorite, I would probably bring it into Photoshop and do cloning. But just to take away a little bit of that brightness. You don't have to do a lot because you don't, doing it in an isolated location, it doesn't do the global change. So that makes a difference.
That was by Venkat Santosh. Desert Storm.
Yes, it is. Brilliant title. You can see the desert by the cacti. You've got your brilliant color of the stormy sky. And I want to see just one thing. No, that would give you more layers of your clouds, but it might be just a little bit too detracting, and you lose the silhouette of your cacti. So I think it's a great image.
That was by Ed Hageman. Fire Escape NYC.
Oh, So clever. Yeah. I had fun when I was looking through the images before we started today. I'm like, oh, more ICM. I'm very happy to see more. And a great title because one of the predominant features in this absolutely is the line of the fire escape. Really well done.
That was by Jay Denny. Gotcha.
Oh, certainly did. I'm guessing it's right in the talons through here. Wow. Beautiful focus with the only eye that you can see. You've got the droplets of water, the feather detail, and I just would bring down a little bit of the highlights and the whites. But very well, a clever title.
That was by Ted Jerkuta. Guitar Duel.
Oh, I love this. The play that's going on between the two of them. And I bet there's a lot of fun that happens with dueling going on. I especially like the black and white and just having this space through here, but yet you can see the light on his face. You can see the light through here, almost giving him a little bit of backlight, and just how wonderful the hands are. He absolutely is dueling. Very well done. And I like too how they come right to the edge of the frame, and there is a framing around it that really gives your eye a place to go. Well done.
That was by Jerry Posano. Into the Darkness.
What a great title and a great ICM. I just, the way that the light is falling through here, or you've got the light absolutely going into the darkness, just really well done.
That one was by Joe Ring. Mandalay Market.
What a beautiful story through here. Looks like they're having fun. I love the laughter in the background. You can't quite see what she was doing there. Maybe something with flour. I don't know. It just got a little bit of a mist, but I just love her face. Your primary subject, she's definitely looking at you, and you've got the vibrant, vivid colors, the bananas or plantains maybe, and the pants and whatever this is here. I really think this is well done, and it clearly tells a story.
That was by Carrie Gottlieb. Oriental Pepperbush. Paperbush, I apologize.
That's okay. This is really stunning. And again, I like having the frame very thin. It doesn't detract from the picture, but it pulls your eye right through. And the details through here are really amazing. And I know when you're doing your people aren't allowed to look through there, but I get to do that since I'm your visiting evaluator. And I'm really impressed the amount of clarity and detail.
That was by Patricia Munford. Torch Trails.
I'm not sure if this is somebody with the torch, so we call them flashlights here. Somebody has a little European subject matter with that. And I like that I can see the movement, but to me, as not being your subject matter, I would want to see a little bit more of what is going on, and I would add a little bit more color through here to give more of your sense of story.
That was by Patrick Murphy. Whispers of Moraine.
Oh, this just makes me want to go. It's so lovely. The framing with the tree branches through here, and then the colors are just phenomenal. You couldn't ask for a better contrast with your red canoe. And then it looks like the fall colors are just starting through here as well as across the lake. Really very serene and inviting.
It's by Heidi Nunnally. Wild Horses.
Great title. You kind of looks like a stampede if these were your white horses. I like how there are numerous colors through here, but again, I would either just pull your color a little bit from up here or just again take down the highlights. That's one of the pieces with ICM is that your whites, if you're in light or bright mode, your whites really can blow out image. So just a little word of caution to that. Now you still see all the colors that were flowing through there.
We didn't bring up the picture here. Ooh, sorry. Just for the folks in the room, do you want me to show the picture? Because the Zoom is kind of pixelating, but then you can't see.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Is
Just
that
wanted to check.
better?
Keep going, Laura. It's not you. It's the Zoom. It's kind of pixelating on. So like when you zoomed in on Patricia's picture, we didn't see how sharp it was until you zoomed in.
Okay.
Okay. You can keep going.
All right.
So
All
the
right.
Wild Horses, that was Michael Bryant.
Thank you.
And this is Nature's Ballet.
Oh, this is just lovely. And I like how crisp it is through here. You've got the feathers and the face is visible. And I just think having both, I like their juxtaposition, and they definitely could be doing a ballet.
That was by Harold Lana. Garden Peony or Peony.
Yeah, depends where you are, what you call it. Very well done there. I love the beauty of these flowers, and it's always nice to have an odd number in your images. And the only thing that I would do is get rid of this darkness just a little bit because my eyes want to go there. So with that, I would pull up your shadows just a little bit and also your blacks. That would probably do enough. But really well done. The leaves and petals are so beautiful.
That was by Dawn Hannah. Vermilion Vista.
The color of the framing is so fitting of this, I'm guessing, southwestern scenery. And you can see that it's changing a little bit from a storm. Maybe the storm has passed. So there's definitely a story here as well. And it really works as a panorama, just works very well.
That was by Karen Davis. Yosemite.
Now you're in my neck of the woods. This is about 4 hours from my house. So I recognized it right away. And it's one of the beautiful spots in the valley where you can get the view looking out and just the reflections on the water. Really well done. And although it wasn't a very cloudy day, you've got just a hint of clouds up here. They come through, and it's not easy to have such a vast from lights to darks with your contrast. So you really did nice editing through here. You've got the rocks. Really well done.
That was by Terry Troxel. Maymont Garden Glow.
Yeah, just fun with some ICM and abstract as it is. And it might be fun to take this image and duplicate it in Photoshop and then flip it so you didn't have this bright area here, or you could clone part of the area and just, I would want to see it all filled up. But very fun.
That was by Kemp Davis. This is titled, Where You Going, City Boy?
Very clever title, and I definitely am hungry now. That cornbread looks really appetizing. I love the contact he's got with the photographer. And it's the only thing, you know, obviously he's behind that, so you can't quite see, you know, all his face through there. But he's definitely loves what he's doing. He's happy to be smiling at the photographer. You've got the smoke coming through here. Definitely a clever title and great image.
That was by Pat Hutchinson. Lightning.
Oh, beautiful. I am a fan of gold. Is gold more than silver? Of course, I love the colors here. And I like how it does not fill the entire frame. You've got it all the way through here, even a little bit of gold dust or sprinkles. And then again, you have that color. Really well done.
That was by Dave Johnson. Northern Mockingbird.
Yes, in winter, I can see the snow through there. And I can see, oh, that's beautiful, how clear the eye is, and all of the feathers that go through here. Really nice and crisp. Sorry, there we go. Nice portrait of a mockingbird.
That was by Kurt Engelman. Magical Moonlight.
Oh, it certainly is. I love the framing. It's just very faint, and the colors that are in here are just lovely. And then you've got your moonlight there, and just the light here is absolutely fabulous. Really beautiful.
That was by Ann Fulcher. That is Illuminated Geometry.
This is really interesting. Great title. And I'm not sure if that's a reflection or why that would be backwards there. But I do love the pond in front with the reflection. And just it's so dark here that detracts a little bit for me personally. So I would probably want to just pull up my blacks a little bit. Or this is something that I would use the spot brush. Do a little bit through here. And that's not a really good job I did there, but that way you won't lose all the blacks throughout the entire image. So just a little bit like that.
That was by Linda Fern-Schmiel.
I do like the framing too, just the really thin frames are good with your finishing of images. Oops.
Take it up.
Very clear. And is this a great blue heron or a juvenile? It's beautiful. Maybe it's breeding plumage. I'm not sure, but I love how even with the shaking it up, you can still see the ripples through here, and yet you still have a reflection. And the face is just really, really crystal clear. Very talented. Oops, go back. There we go.
It was by Carol Annis. Yes, idiot, I am cold.
Let me come back up here. There we go. I just think that's a perfect title, especially when you're so, might be the title more at the end of winter versus the very beginning, but it's so well done. You've got your snow through here and just this eye contact coming at you. And that bird looks quite cranky. So beautiful bokeh in the back and your nice framing through here. Great image.
That was by Michael Orr. Can't see the title. Neptune's Finger.
I'm not familiar with this, but what I do love about it is having the birds here gives me the scale of Neptune's finger. Look how small they are compared to the rest of the rock. Just really impressive. And I like the tones here as well. There we go.
That was by Paul Bickford. Oscillating Stairs.
Very clever, nice little ICM maneuver as well. And what really makes this too is having a person on the stairs. Well done.
It was by Gary Kornfeld.
Oh, wow.
Sunset Silhouettes.
Oh, it's really stunning. I'm not sure if it's a rookery or something, but just really beautiful. I like how they're all in the same branch. Just one little friend up here.
That was by
Defin-
Pat Davis. Oh, I'm sorry, Laura,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Well, I paused, so no problem. I really like the story that's here too. Well done.
That was by Pat Davis. Straight at you.
Definitely is, and I am going to duck. I do not want to have a head-to-head with this amazing hunter. Looks like they're on a mission, and the clarity of the bird is just brilliant. You've got your background muted. The tones here are just great. And just, the details on the very end of the feather tips, I guess you would call them, just really, really good.
That was by Martin Evans.
A fish around his neck.
This is titled Weeping Cherry.
Oh, this is a beautiful ICM, something that, we have the almonds out here and just got to enjoy our almond blossom season. And just the movement is so complimentary. Excuse me. And yet you can see the trunk of the tree through here as well. Really well done, because it fills your frame, and that makes such a difference.
That was by Jean Boyd.
I beat that.
Can I beat Dad?
I want to know if they were able to beat Dad or not. Having a bike race like this is so much fun. They're so close together. Everybody's moving. I love shadows through here, and the vibrant colors really make this an inviting image with lots of story.
Hey, Laura, is there a reason, or Paul, is there a reason why we're seeing such pixelated photos? They're coming in very slowly.
Zoom.
It is Zoom. Because Laura, you're starting to cut off a little bit here and there.
Okay. Well, let me do one thing. Let me go to this. All right. Hopefully, maybe that will be better for you.
Thank you.
That was by Philip Snyder. Stairway to Heaven.
Of course, I love it because there's so much movement. And I just think that the only thing would be to maybe have maybe a little less white. That didn't do it for me. I think I would just do the exposure just a teeny bit less. But I like the chaos, and the gold and black are very good complementary colors.
It was by Bob Altick.
Stacking.
Okay. All right. I definitely talk about the players, rugby players. They've definitely got their eyes on the ball and against one another, and how close they are for a very fitting title. I especially love the framing around it. Just such a thin frame, but it definitely keeps my eye focused through here. You've got great focus on the ball and the front person. Got great expressions throughout. A good stop in movement.
That was by Ling Whitworth. Bohemian Sunrise.
Yes. Yeah, beautiful. I would be very much location envy here. I love all the vibrant colors throughout. Nice sunrise.
That was by Susan Jethro Reed. Flame Foliage.
Clever title. Love the chaos. You can see that, there is some leaves that are coming through there. I'm not sure, maybe the colors are from lights, but I don't need to know that. It's clearly an abstract image. And just the only thing, it's so dark through here. You might want to even come in a little bit, cropped it. Maybe just a little bit there. So it's not quite as dark all along the bottom, but I like the colors and the vibrancy.
That was by Jane Webb. True love.
It certainly looks like it. They've got the eye contact. They're probably in their little rookery getting ready for spring babies. Excuse me. And I like how, you know, the rookery, they usually are in hiding, so they're not going to be on the close to you. They're going to be behind foliage, but yet both faces are quite visible. And I might just crop it a little bit. Not quite in the center. So just personal preference, but I like the story that's being told here.
That was by Rebecca Perry. This one's titled Ricky.
Ricky's got the ball, and I love the tongue. That just is so adorable coming through there. Looks like Ricky is racing. We've got one leg up, one's just getting ready to hit the ground. The ears are fine, and you've got beautiful eye contact. So I'm guessing the photographer is either the one throwing the ball or someone right next to them will help Ricky play ball. Cute photo.
That was by Bill Whitworth. Singled out.
A beautiful tulip. Only one out. And I also like how it's the only pop of red in this image as well. Definitely makes it be singled out. And I like the color of the framing. You've got a lot of golden tones through here, and that just really brings it home. Very well done.
That was by Tony Johnson. And this is the last one. This is Blood Moon.
Wow, we had lots of our end of that. Beautiful moon pictures. I think that I might just do a little thinner with the frames. I think you can use the two colors here. That's great. You've got the 4 images, and I just framing there. It just kind of, my eye is wanting to wander outside the frame.
Laura,
So
could you repeat
maybe
that?
just,
You froze up for a second
okay.
on the Zoom.
Just,
Sorry.
oh, no, I'm sorry. But just with the white here, and then it's coming through the framing that's the white, whereas the grid seems, you know, just a little bit less white. I think that this color might work really well for your framing as opposed to the bright white. And I would just have a little thinner framing, but it's beautiful images of a blood moon.
That was by Shashi Air.
Do we have questions for Laura? Any questions from the floor or from the Zoom crowd?
Question would be.
Hang on.
Like.
You want to repeat that for the
For
Zoom
the-
folks?
For the image with the cactus and the lightning, how is that done? What's the technique?
Is that person here? Who is that?
That's usually done with a sensor that goes on top of your camera and it'll sense the lightning and then so you're trying to handle that. It's very difficult to do. but with the sensor, it feels.
The gadget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called, but I've seen some really outstanding photos of lightning that will. No, if you're lucky.
It's a
you might
lightning
be able to
trigger.
do that, but 99%
Yes.
of the time with the little module on there, it got you, baby. It'll really do it.
I think it's called a lightning trigger. Is that?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I happened to meet a guy. He happened to this weekend, and he specializes in that. And that's the only reason I knew all this, because he was telling me about it. It was outstanding. Pardon? Yeah.
I think the big question for the group and for the PPA folks is, what is the category of intentional camera movement, if not in the assigned subject? Like if you had a landscape photograph and you had movement, I guess it goes in the landscape, I guess. But that's something that we'll have to struggle with, and we'll keep you posted. But there are lots of categories that may or may not fit.
Sounds like creative art.
Yeah, exactly.
So Laura, I don't know what your internet is like out there, but a lot of the pictures were kind of blurry and to the people on the computers. And so I just also point out that I'll have the pictures posted on the web in a couple of days, and you can see them in all their glory.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm the only one on the bandwidth now because, for obvious reasons, I didn't want to be competing with any other members in the household. So I did see that at one time I had a notice that my internet was unstable. So it could be that
Yeah.
as well.
Must be, because you also paused occasionally, so that suggested that the internet wasn't working. And we have larger photos this time.
Okay.
Recently, in the last couple of years, 3 to 10 megabytes, and that may have something to do with it also. But I think, we really enjoyed your presentation and the intentional movement, but I think you want to be aware for your other presentations that your bandwidth could be a problem.
Thank you.
It may be worth considering at some point in the future. Let's say we had an assigned subject like trees. That's pretty easy, but something like this, which is sort of special, maybe you allow 2 entries that can go into the end of the year. Just something to think about. You can't change it for this year.
Pat's shaking her head.
Laura, you definitely challenged this group. I was extremely amazed at some of these were just unbelievable. But I know you challenged a lot of us because we've been talking behind the scenes for the last couple of weeks. And it's definitely a different way, a different perspective, and a different way of shooting. So I really appreciate it. I learned a lot from you.
And the images I
thank you.
thought were incredible, that a group like this could generate with, I don't know if you've ever had an assigned subject like this before, but it really was a lot of creativity that was displayed this evening. You think you've got a great image, and then you come and you look at the rest of the crowd and you think, well, maybe not so much.
And I'd also like to understand how some of these images were acquired. I mean, I know we had the nice presentation last month, but still don't see how all of them were acquired.
Well, the next time or when they're posted on the website, then you guys can start asking one another how they did that. I do want to extend a request. you do not have to try and figure this out all on your own. Do not hesitate to reach out to me. I know you have my phone number. I'm on Facebook. I'm enjoying getting together with some people from your group. I also am joining your Facebook group, but if you have a question or you don't know what to do or how you want to change it, please reach out to me. I'm your resource and I have lots of time on my hands, so don't hesitate.
We appreciate
Thank you
that.
very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Any other comments?
I
Thank
see
you.
Karen walking up there.
Karen's up here. I just wanted to thank Laura again and to give credit to Heidi Nunley. Heidi is the one who
Yes.
discovered Laura and asked her to do an intentional camera movement presentation for us, which of course she did in March. And then we all kind of put our heads together on the board and said, oh, but wouldn't it be cool to have an assigned subject and then really explore it? So that's kind of some of the things that we're trying to do this year. We have 2 other assigned subjects coming up, Lights in the Night. And then somebody's gonna have to help me with the third one because I totally forgot what it is. Maybe Pat knows
Moody.
what that one is.
Moody.
Oh,
Emma.
right, Moody photography, yes. And then a
Ooh.
little bit of an update on the Moody photography because our friend Nick Stover was the one that suggested that we go with that Moody photography theme. And then unfortunately, or fortunately for Nick, he had an opportunity to travel to Alaska on a special trip the same night as our meeting. So he's not going to be able to evaluate the Moody photography for us. But we are thrilled that Mary Fisk Taylor, who is the current VPPA president, VPPA being Virginia Professional Photographers Association. So Mary is going to step in for us on the Moody photography. So we're going to update that that list of our scheduled events for the rest of the year. So I think that was it. Was there any other? I know we have a lot of new members and guests in the room and on the Zoom. Are there any just general Camera Club questions that you have? I thought I'd throw that out there. I see some new names on the board. So as you probably gathered, we do have an end of year competition. So this category, intentional camera movement, will be a category all by itself. So the images that were
Good.
entered tonight will then compete in that end of year competition. The other categories, just so you know, we've got flora, we have landscape, we have portraits, we have pictorial, which is kind of a catch-all category that was mentioned earlier, that if you did another ICM and you didn't know what to do with it, it might go in pictorial or it could possibly go in landscape. If it's flowers, it might go in flora. And architecture, yeah, thank you. That was the other one. And then black and white or color. So that comes up at the end of the year. Any other questions?
Well, Laura, you're welcome to join us in the future at our meetings.
Yeah.
I will keep that in mind.
Yeah. Question on the floor here at the church. What is Moody photography? Well, it could be anything. We'll publish a little definition, but it could be a person looking contemplative or looking moody. It could be a landscape that's sort of an austere type of landscape. Maybe fog. When I thought moody, I was thinking, oh, a good fog picture would probably fit into moody. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all moody. But and also a plug, I think Laura mentioned that as our evaluator and presenter, we have granted her honorary membership in Camera Club of Richmond. So she has joined our Camera Club of Richmond membership Facebook group. That's a lot of words, but we do have a Facebook group that's members only. And Laura, that was a great idea. I think what we should do is go post some of these ICM pictures out there and maybe have a little guessing game. Because I was playing it in my head as we were going through. I was like, what is that? Tulips, I could figure that one out. But there were some, I had no clue what they were. And it would be kind of fun for some people, like Patricia Munford's picture. She had posted several months ago. She did that ICM way before we started talking about ICM. And nobody could figure out what it was. And that was the beads, the Mardi Gras beads. People thought crayons, that sort of thing. So I think that might be fun. If you're part of the membership Facebook members only group, throw some pictures out there and let's play a little bit. And if you're not, come join us. That's a great place to exchange information, ask questions about cameras. who's shooting a Nikon and, what's your favorite model, that sort of thing.
Laura, you may want to join that also since you're now a member, so you'll see what
She's already
everybody's
in there.
I
Oh.
did join it.
Yeah.
Good. I see you on your regular personal
Yep.
one. So
Yep.
great. I'm glad to hear that.
So I'm sure she'd love to see them. Ask questions.
Yep.
Okay. I'll turn it back over to Martin and I'll shut up.
Okay, if any other questions, and if not, we'll call it a night, and thank everyone for coming.
Laura, take a peek at the chat because a lot of people are thanking you.
Oh, well, thank you. And again, thank you, Heidi and Karen and Jane for making this happen.
Thank you very, very much.
So actually, I have a question if you guys can hear
It's a new
me.
dimension.
Thank you, Laura.
Go, Michael.
So this question may have served us better a month ago when she was going through the techniques and whatnot. But when an intentional camera movement image is being judged versus all of our other categories, and it's its own category, it's not creative art, right? How does it get judged? I mean, I realize PPA has they have a published list of, I forget if it's like 5 different areas, is it properly exposed and in focus and all that kind of stuff. But ICM is just so different for me that I'm sitting here scratching my head saying, well, how do you judge a good versus a bad image? It's almost like saying Picasso is good, but Kandinsky is not, right? They're different styles within
Yes.
an abstract area here.
And Michael, I don't know what PPA does for judging. Somebody did ask this last time, and I shared that I have problems with our California State Fair because and I contacted the photography coordinator 2 years ago or 3 years ago when I first submitted, where would my ICM image go? And they have me in the digital manipulation, which manipulation, I don't agree with that for ICM images. I think if I'm taking an ICM landscape, I'm not doing anything different to the image. I'm capturing it with my camera, but I could see a multiple exposure as being a creative digital manipulation. But I have not asked PPA. I will do that and also ask some people in the ICM world, what their experience has been. And I will post that in your Facebook group. How's that?
Awesome. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Michael, I don't understand why you say it's not creative art, because it seems to me as soon as you start manipulating things, whether in the camera or with Photoshop, you're creating, it's an art that you're creating. And you're not just taking a photo of, well, of what you see in the natural environment, for example, which is art too in a different way, but to manipulate in all these different ways sounds to me that like it falls squarely in the creative art category.
Oh, and actually, I agree with that completely. It does fall within the creative art category. What I meant was, right, we've created a category, a subcategory called intentional camera movement, right? So for assigned subject photos, they're going to be judged against each other, right? And they're not going to be judged against photos that are in the creative art category. That's
Well, they'll be in the
fine.
end, though. I mean, there'll be, a first place and so on in the intentional camera movement, but then they compete against the other assigned subject categories, and those all get competing for the grand prize in all against all the other categories. So yes, they all get smushed together eventually, and I think. To me, I think, while we did highlight that there were only 13 creative art, I think this year we're going to have a lot more because, I had, while I don't consider my pictures particularly good compared to what other people were producing here, I do have another one, which I may or may not throw into creative art, which I kind of like, and we'll see what happens at the end of the year. So I think we're going to have more pictures in creative art that other people had left over from their file of these ICM photos.
But I also agree with what Laura just said. If you took the picture as a picture and did not do anything else to it, then it should be a photo that's able to be in any category. A flower is a flower if it's not manipulated. Should be in the flowers. So I think that we need
Well,
to
that's
keep it
interesting.
clear.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that, but it seems like, if you're taking a picture of a flower and like my tree, I swirled it around and it really doesn't look like the dogwood tree anymore. That sounds to me creative. It doesn't really sound to me like a dogwood, but whatever. We have to figure that out. So Laura, you
It'll be,
really think you can put it either
yeah,
place?
it'll be a good dialogue and conversations for you all for many weeks and months to come.
And years. We've been
There
doing
you
this
go.
for years.
Well, as I said, this is a new dimension to me, and
Yeah,
not sure I'll pursue it, a great deal, but it really, it makes photography a little more exciting to add new dimensions.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Definitely.
all right.
Well, I am going to turn off our
Recording.
recording and I'm going to say goodnight.
All right. I am so sorry that you guys were not able to see the image as well. So I wanted to redo it just so that you'll have a clearer Zoom session than you did last night. So again, my apologies, but it's a win-win. I get to enjoy your images again. So here we go. All right. And I don't have the list of whose images these are, so I will just be able to read off the title, starting with Alien Rave Gone Wrong. And this image is great. It's got bright colors through here, and you don't have a lot of distracting white or anything too bright. So let's see if we added a little more. You can give it or keep it the way it was. Let me do this. So just a little bit of a difference, not too much with the auto. And I think the title is absolutely great and very fitting. Next, bamboo forest. I love how you can absolutely see that the bamboo plant is there. The trunks are so identifiable. With this, I would just tone down the brights at the bottom. And if you do a little bit of lowering the highlights and lowering the whites, then that way it's not so deep through here, but very creative and love the movement. Beadwork. And I thought these were lights, so it was exciting to learn after our session last night that these literally are beads and they're from the Mardi Gras. I think it's remarkable that the lines are so almost perfectly straight, but I love just that little curve through here. Really well done. Chaos on the track. This is just brilliant. I love the movement. I think it's great that you have certain areas that are really visible in focus. You've got the number 32 here, a player, and her face coming through. And my only thing that I may do to it would be to tone down these bright areas. And that does happen if you are shooting in light or bright mode because the white or brights will come through pixel by pixels. So they can be a little bit distracting. And I would just go use a little brush tool, make my brush a little larger, just so that it's not detracting as much from this really clever image. And I'd even grab that one up there too. Okay. And then I'm just going to move the sliders a little bit less and a little bit less. This way, then it's not a global change. So you're not changing those effects throughout the entire image, but just very clever. Great image. Okay. Drifting Through the Tulip Dreams, wonderful title. I love the framing. It's simple, it's thin, and it really keeps your eyes through your image. And I did make the comment last night that I think this is a multiple exposure, and that was confirmed. Very well done. I just think it screams spring, and I love it. Right, Evening Rainbow. And my guess is the word fun is over here. We can't quite see it. I love the richness of the colors. And I think, there you go. I would just change it so it's a little bit darker through your colors. But great image. Into the Path. I like the fact that just as a landscape image alone, you would follow the eye. You've got a leading lane for yourself to walk along the path. I love the bright color. My guess is it could be a red bud, but I think that is well done. Palms Past the Porch. Oh, I love a beach scene, palms anytime. And I think this one is just a little too dark. I would add some color just by auto. You still have the silhouette of your palm trees, but I like that you picked up a little bit of color with the building. And you also got these images down here, these little spots in your image as well. But good image. Planet of Mystic Colors. These colors are just stunning. I love the movement through here. It's so visible. And my only thing that I might do differently is this part up here is so blurry. I know that you want to keep the orb of the planet, so you want to keep your disc, but oops, don't want to do that. You may want to think about just coming in and cropping it just a little. I don't know. It's a personal preference. I think you did well with the colors. It was just that little bit of distraction for me because that's where my eyes go first. Sand dune sweep. And my only thing here, I can't exactly see what is sweeping through here. Definitely the sand dune. And I really like the framing around. It's just a subtle, thin frame. Seascape. This is such a calming image. I like the blue that goes through your image through here and just the soft, muted colors with your sunrise and very little movement. The color of the frame is perfect. And I don't know, maybe just a little less of a frame, so a little bit thinner. That might be my only change I would make to a lovely image. Synchronicity. I love how many layers are in this image. And I think the only thing I might change would be to delete this little area through here. It doesn't really add much to the image, so I might just take that out. But I think the layers and storytelling is quite evident. In a hurry. I know we've all had those moments at the shopping when you're out grocery shopping. I mistakenly thought it was multiple exposure, thinking that one image was the cart and the other was the zoom along the shelves. And I learned at the end of our meeting, brilliant solution. He attached a gorilla pod to the handle so we can't see it, and then did his motion and movement down the aisles. I just think it's very clever, and goodness knows we all have been in a hurry before. Really well done. Rear window. And what I like here is you have the rear window, and these colors are so vibrant and bright, just delightful. And obviously you can see the movement through here. And I also like the fact that they took out the license plate. That's good. Double crested cormorant. I clearly see the diagonal movement through here. And I think one of the aspects I really like about these birds is their distinctive bill color, whether it's a golden or a yellowish, but it just makes it very identifiable even as a blur. Great. City lights. What really struck me here was the distinctive geometric patterns with the lines. I think that's really stunning, the way that this is done. And I also love the bonus reflection on the bottom. Burst mode. This is just so well done. I don't know if they were on a tripod. The movement is just so steady and straight. I like the fact that you have color at the bottom, and then you've got the golden and the silver and the whites through here. Really well done. City lights reflected. I just love all the various colors that are in this image. And I might want just a little bit more of the image. So with that, I just clicked on auto to, it brought out a little bit through here, and it added just a touch down here. And I do love, excuse me, being able to see the movement through here. Bobby socks, trees. Oh, I just think this is a beautiful winter scene. You've got the straight lines of the trees, you've got the snow, and it clearly was a cloudy day. And I just think it's well done. The forest is ablaze. And I like the black and white aspect. I just want a little bit more visible. So with that, just clicking on the auto button so that it's a little bit more of a pop. Headed north. I think you've got great movement. You can see the direction of the light coming through because it's on the one side of the trees through the image, and just very subtle movement. I believe it was half a second. And I think it is a good image that you can see with just a little bit of movement. And also, I'm guessing they might have a Nikon camera. That's what I shoot with. So with this, I'm able to see all the settings on the camera. On most of your images, I cannot. So that's how come I know that it was at half a second. taking flight. I think the muted background here is just perfect. What strikes me the most are the beautiful lines of white that come through with the blue from the feathers. I'm not sure if it's a flycatcher or a scrub jay, but it is just wonderful. Okay. Orbit of a cube. And I like all the geometric shapes through here. And I think that let me see, this still might be from when I did that. Okay, all right. Excuse me. So with this, I think that I would just tone this down just a teeny bit so that it's not the first thing that I see in your image. So highlights down. Again, if you edit it this way, you are pulling highlights and whites out of the full image, but I would just do that so that's not where my eyes go first. Boardwalk. This is just a really well done abstract image. My guess would be it was done in dark mode because of the vivid darkness that came through with your black and white. I just think it is so well done, the movement, the lines, and I like it as a black and white. Sundance, you definitely can see your movement with the reflection on the water. I know why you called it Sundance because of these, but the one drawback with the light or bright mode is that it really hones in on anything bright. So I would keep the exposure as shot, but I would bring down the highlights and the whites. You still have the movement, but it doesn't detract from the rest of the image. I like the fact I can see the water a little bit more, and the framing is just great. And the color of the frame works really well. I think it's a gray, not a white, but good job. Vision. A great abstract. I like the black and white because of the tones that you have. You can see the zoom movement. And I like the way that changing it to black and white, you really get the tones and the different movement through here. And I don't know if it is a tree or a statue, probably a tree, but very clever. Watercolored. This image and movement just reminds me of a Monet painting. I just through here, that's so beautiful. And I really like the fact that you have the colored water or watercolored. Tunnel bridge, great movement. I like the contrast with the dark on one side and lighter on the other. Your movement is good. I can clearly see that you are spinning, twisting it. And I think this is a good job. Reminds me of a little wormhole. Perspective. I like the fact that they tip their camera. You can see through here, you've got the ground on the side and the way that the trunks and branches of the trees still come through. It gets a good abstract and great multiple exposure. A pebble's impact. And I like the fact I can see a person here, and maybe are they throwing a pebble? I can't quite discern that. But I do like the image and the mystery that comes with it. And just one caution, this was shot at f/22, and one of the drawbacks with ICM is that in order to keep, they were shooting at 1/4 of a second. So in order to have your shutter speed that low at 1/4, your every single dust speck on your sensor is going to show up. So you need to really make that be your first thing. And this, I can't tell you how much time I spend. I do take my images into Photoshop to erase my spots from the sensor, but you've got one here and one here, and that detracts a bit from your image. And I would like to see a little more with the colors. So that was just me editing by clicking on auto. Moving pieces. I just think the details that are still present here, I think it's clever. You can see the bottom of the board through here, still have the face. And I also like with the background that that's the white. So well done. Labadee sunrise. It's just so inviting. It makes me want to go there. Such peacefulness. And the only thing I might change is that, you know, this image is so dark that you lose that aspect of it. So let's see. No, I don't think I want to do a global change. I would probably come in through here. Make my brush bigger because I don't want it to be quite as dramatic. Want it a little more subtle. And first I'm going to see what happens if I do the shadows just a little bit there. Brings out just a smidge of color. So I would pull out the blacks just a little bit. And I would spend more time so it's not obvious, but just very inviting. A Mother's Grief, very perfect title for a cemetery. And the only thing is, I can't quite see. I think there's so much with this part of the statue. And I would just pull up the color a little bit by going with auto so that you can see more of the real grief. But good with the black and white. Good job. Silent Passage, another one that has such solitude and very poignant. I wouldn't want to lose so much of the whites with the headstones through here, but I did like just a little bit more pronounced color. I think it makes the contrast a little stronger through here, but good image. Well done. Log transport. I can certainly see the log transport. And I think with this image, this area through here is so large, I would crop it because it's not adding to your image because you want to focus on the movement. And I would crop it all the way up so I get rid of that sign area there. Probably come in here a little bit more. And so I just pulled it up so that none of the sidewalk is visible. And I think then you really are able to show the movement. Dogwood swirl. I love the motion through here and the contrast that you have between the dogwood and the ground, the soil, and the greens that are able to pop through here just a little bit. Good movement. Purple explosion. I love the zoom motion that is so well done throughout. And I think the only thing I might change is this area through here is just that solid white. And I think that I would just do a little bit, try to do a little bit of a clone. I think I still have my center there. Okay. All right, and obviously that's not good. I would probably take it into Photoshop to do a clone, but you understand now it's not detracting. So again, that's a horrible example that I've made because it's pretty obvious, but I like it because now it really fits your title of Purple Explosion, and my eye doesn't go immediately to that white or bright spot. Gold plated. I don't know if it's a plate or a metal. It's a great abstract. I love the movement and the contrast throughout. Well done. Dancing with Time. I believe these are roses, and one of the aspects I really like is that they're not all facing the same direction. So it really does well to have some upside down and some right side up. Do a little still life and then do your ICM. And I think it's just a personal preference of mine, but I would have your frame just a little bit thinner. So artist choice, and clearly you are the artist, but if it were mine, I would do that. And that's the last assigned subject image we have. So just a couple points I want to reiterate. Number one, when you're shooting in light or bright mode, when you have whites in your image, that is really going to be very defined, because pixel by pixel, your camera is choosing the light and bright areas first over anything in your second image if you're doing a multiple exposure. And even if it's ICM, if you have the white or bright in your image, that's really going to, the movement is very well defined by the light. So you may need to tone down, and I usually go for highlights first to see what that does, and then my whites. So that's just one drawback with the ICM. And the last thing is making sure you get rid of those spots from your sensor. It is a drawback of absolutely agree and admit erasing it. I have my favorite camera store is about half an hour away. So I may go there, once a week, once every other week, and have professionals clean it. So thank you very much. And I will go ahead and sign off on this image. Stop sharing, and then I will make another Zoom of your other category. Thank you so much. All right. This is the second portion of evaluating your images. And I will say I was really pleased to see ICM in here as well. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And we'll go with this one. All right. Going to move this down a little bit. Go to develop. All right. And again, I don't have the information of who the photographers were, so I will just be reading the titles. Starting with Basket Made. We don't know if they made it or not. Maybe they did, but it's a great title. I think it's just super how in focus the ball is through here, your hand is in focus. And I just think the look on the athlete's face is priceless. They're definitely focused. So, good job. Okay. Behind the save. I think it's great that you have the framing of the face through here. And as a black and white, the only thing that kind of detracts for me personally is this little area through here. It's not in the shadow. Put me down here. And I would maybe just take down the shadows a little bit so it's not quite as much of a difference, and a little bit of the blacks as well. But the catch light you have in the eye is just great. And I would imagine if you zoom in, you can see the photographer in the player's eyes as well. Very good balance, clever title, beautiful image. I just think it's a 1 in a million shot to get the berry balancing on the nose before they were enjoying it. And the only thing for me is that it's so bright through here that I would probably take down the highlights a little bit, being careful not to lose the color of the bird. Yeah, so I would just do that for me. Okay. I do like the framing. The color is perfect. It doesn't detract. I think it adds to the image. And I do like the thin frame. Can I move now? I think we've all had kids that will ask us that as well. Got great focus through this image. The feathers are just so much detail was captured here. You've got the eye, the colors, and the water coming off the bill, and a little bit of a ripple from the water, and they're definitely watching the photographer. Good job. Cosmic Truck. Clearly you can see how this title came to be, which is very clever. My guess is you've even got a light inside here. And the only thing for me is that this, your eye tends to go to the brightest point in the image first. So I would take that down a little bit, and I would just do a brush, make it small, and just come through here a little bit. Obviously, I'm not exactly where I need to be. I would take more time if it were my image, not just me showing you. And I would see what I always start with the highlights. I take them down first and then the whites. And this is better than using one of the tools in Lightroom, the brush or a mask, however you want to do it. You don't want to take the white and brights through the entire image away, because that will really change your image. But very clever, and a great Milky Way shot. I love the reflections that are through here as well. Oh, sorry. Desert Storm. This is just a wonderful image. You've got the silhouette of the cacti. The lightning through here is just very, very well done. And the question after the meeting was, how are they able to capture it? And it's with a lightning trigger. It's something that you usually have on your hot shoe, and it senses when lightning's coming, so it helps you capture the lightning. But great name, and I love the color through here. Just really nice. Fire Escape NYC. Great title, and I just love that the most predominant feature is absolutely the fire escape. Works well with the motion through here. I think it's a great capture. Gotcha. And I do believe they have a little snack in the back, talons through here. It's really well done in focus. You've got the one eye through here. You've got great detail throughout the feathers and the water. And I just might take down the highlight just a little bit through here. Okay. But great capture. Guitar duel. There are so many aspects of this image that really strikes me. The fact you've got the lighting on the guitar playing face coming through here, The frame works beautifully. It's just such a thin frame, thin line, that it really keeps your eyes inside the frame. I just love his expression. You've got a little bit of light through here. And I really like the fact that there is so much negative space in this image, and the fact that they are both really on the edge. I think it just adds a lot here. But very sweet image. Into the Darkness. Great title, and I just love the way that you've got the lighting through here. You can see the banister, you've got the light coming in through the window, and yet it goes all the way down exactly into the darkness. And the movement is just great. Not too much, just perfect. Mandalay Market. There's such a story here. I love how happy she is. I'm not sure if she's doing something with flour or something. It seems like there's a little cloud through there. The colors and vibrancy through here. Are those bananas or plantains? I don't know, but I like the fact that it's yellow in the front. Beautiful pants or skirt, and the red through here, and her face is just perfect. She's looking right at the photographer. Very telling here. Okay, Oriental paper bush. What strikes me the most with this image, first of all, you have the thin framing, which is going to keep my eyes right inside your image. The details that are so evident. I mean, you can see the fuzz throughout this image. Well done. Torch trails. You can definitely see what type. And I think for me, I would just add a little bit more of the background color. It also allows you to pick up these images, the movement through here as well. Whispers of Moraine, the framing that is here with the trees on both sides. The color of the water is just amazing. You can see right through the water. I love the contrast. You've got a red boat. Doesn't get better than that. And also looks like fall is starting. You can see some color through here and also a little bit back through there. Really well done. And it makes me want to go there. I want to be able to go there and relax. Very inviting. Wild Horses, very clever title. I can see how you got it. And it does indeed look like a herd of horses. Here's their heads, and they're on their way, racing across your frame. And the only thing here, I would tone down the whites and brights, or rather highlights and whites just a little bit. And the way I'm doing this, it is global, but it brings out the colors a little bit more through here, and the white is not detracting from your image, but very clever. Nature's Ballet. This is focus of the positioning of the birds. One is clearly in front, and you've got the side through here. It really works. And they both have their wings spread out so that it's just really apparent they probably were dancing for sure. Garden Peony. I do like images like this where you have an odd number that works well. You've got the 1, 2, and 3 is peeking out through here. The details on the flower are great. Your shadows do not detract at all. And just the only thing that my eye goes to is how dark it is through here. So you could do that one of two ways. I didn't do this part last night, but you could come in just a little bit more, get rid of some of the black through there. That would work. Or just taking your shadows, bringing them up just a little bit. You can see a little bit more there in the blacks. Okay. Vermilion Vista. It works perfect as a panorama. I like the color of the frame. It definitely finishes your image. I like the story here that we don't know if the storm has come and then gone, or if you're driving into the storm or hiking into the storm, but very beautiful landscape. Now you're in my neck of the woods, so it's about 4 hours from where I live. This is a great spot view. The reflections are simply stunning through here. Really well done. Your contrast is great. You can still see the rocks that are coming out. Got the blue of the sky. And I think, the only thing I might add is just a little bit of a frame. And I would go for a darker color. Would just eyes image. I think it's Maymont Garden Glow. I love an abstract like this. Got so much here, just crazy motion, and that works very well. The only thing for me is I might clone it, and this area, I'm missing the pattern going through the frame. So I would just clone this area. You could do it. I would take it to Photoshop because I find that that's a little bit better than Lightroom Classic. But I would like to see that beautiful color with the background all the way through the image. But I love the abstractness and the colors. Where are you going, City Boy? He definitely is got eye contact. The only thing, this little fork kind of splits his face. But I love that expression, the smile. Definitely makes me hungry, and now I want cornbread. And the smoke is over here, so definitely, I bet it smells great. Quite a story with this image. Lightning. The motion is so fast, and I am definitely preference to gold. I like just the little sprinkling of golden that's coming through here. You still have a little bit hint of the colors that were at the bottom. And I don't know if this was with the tripod or you are very skilled at hand holding, but I do like it. Very well done. Northern Mockingbird. You can see this is a nice winter scene. You've got your snow through here. It's very crisp. And I just really like how you can see such detail in the feathers and the colors, tone. Very well done. Beautiful panorama, just perfect framing. It just is a little hint. The lighting is just beautiful. You've got your moon coming out through here. The tones of the image are really stunning as well. Very well done. Illuminated geometry. I don't know why that's backwards. I couldn't figure that out. I do see with the frame, you've got that, so your eyes are coming in. I think it's great to have the reflection of the building, and definitely it works as a black and white. And you've just got such wonderful lighting throughout. The only thing I might change is this. It's so dark. I would just have it, oops, sorry. I would just have this go away just a little bit so my eye doesn't sit there. And I would just do that by first to go for shadows, upping that a little bit, and then blacks. Yeah. So then that way it's not where my eye immediately goes to. Oh, there we go. Shake it up. Very cute. I love it. I'm not sure if it's breeding season. You've got, if it's breeding plumage that's coming through, but I love it. In the reflection, you can see the feathers. You can also see there's movement through here. Maybe they're making little rings in the water. And I think it's a great blue heron, but just look how clear and crisp this is. Maybe it's a green heron. I can't tell. Sorry about that. But just wonderful image. Very well done. Yes, idiot. I am old. That's just the perfect title, especially at the end of winter when you're tired of it. I love the snowflakes, the bokeh that's going on through here, and just a really subtle frame that just pulls me in. I see this little guy's face. Come on. Okay, there we go. Look at how crisp that is. Beautiful. Your feathers are visible. Very well done. Okay. Neptune's finger. I think this works very well as a black and white. I especially like how the birds are on the edge here. That really gives you scale of how large this is through here. So, well done. Oscillating stairs. I like how you have the person in it. That really helps ground your image since it seems to be floating. Just really well done with subtle movement. I think it's a good shot. A good image was made there. Sunset Silhouettes. What a fitting title. I just love how they are all on one branch with the exception of this little guy right up there. And the tones are just beautiful through here. And it almost makes, these almost look like they were drawn in with the pencil. I'm sure they weren't, but I just think it really works that you have the two main branches in front that are so visible, and then these are really well done out of focus. Straight at you. This is wonderful. The clarity with the tips of the feathers, the outstretched wings, definitely mid-flight, and the way that the background is blurred, your depth really works well. And you know, I don't think I said this last night, but the only thing, you've got this one color coming in through here, you know, I might just crop out the bottom just a little bit, and I have it so it's on custom because I wouldn't want to bring it any closer to the edge. But I kind of like that just a little bit better. But just those eyes are coming right for you. I'm definitely going to duck. Well done. Weeping Cherry. We just finished with our Almond Blossom Festival, and I'm already looking forward to next year. The movement through here is just perfect. I really like the way that it fills the frame. You can still see the branch and the trunk coming through, and this really works. Can't beat Dad. Don't know if they did or not, but a bike race. I love how compact they are through here. And I think the shadows tell a really great story as well. You've got the vibrant colors coming through, and it's definitely makes me wonder if they were able to beat Dad. Stairway to Heaven, wonderful abstract. And I like the gold tones and the black that comes through, but I do find the white just a little overbearing through here. So I think that I might try turning down the exposure just a little bit and definitely move the highlights so that it's not overpowering the rest of the image, because you have a lot of a great story through here as well. Okay. Stacking. I certainly love how everybody is indeed stacked up. This person is so in focus. I think it's rugby, maybe it's soccer, and coming through, the expressions on the face are well done. You've got the vibrant colors with the red popping through. Just think that is really good. Bohemian Sunrise, very beautiful. I like how peaceful this makes me feel. The just very little movement. You've got the colors from the beautiful bright burgundy going to red through orange. Really beautiful. It makes me want to be Flaming Foliage. Oh, I love the title. It works really well. It does indeed look like flames. And I think for me, the only detraction is that this is such negative space. It's it really contrasts to the rest of the image. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. I would crop just a little bit. I don't want to lose this leaf, but I'll give up part of it so it's not, the first thing that I see is not the negative space. Then I can really, enjoy that. True Love. I'm guessing it's a rookery, and one thing about rookeries is they're definitely in the trees a little bit more. So the tree is out front. You can see them. I think the only thing I would do is I would crop it just a little bit. Still want them to have room, but then the first thing I really look at is the two lovebirds sitting here. But nice image. Ricky's on the run. I love this tongue coming through here. The wild ears and hair, fur flying, so to speak. Definitely see he's in motion. He's got one leg up here. This one's just getting ready for the step. And that eye contact is just wonderful. So it makes me wonder, is the photographer going to throw that ball for Ricky, or is someone right next to you going to throw it? Just a really great stop action image. Singled Out. I just the hint of a frame, it definitely eyes in. And what a great contrast. The only red that's in the image is through here. You've got it on the, rule of thirds line, and I just think it's a beautiful sign of spring. Blood Moon. Really well done, showing the different phases and colors of the moon as it was moving. The only thing for me is that with this white and the brightness in here on this image particularly, my eye doesn't stay inside the frame here. I think that I would do less white. I'd take down the highlights just a little and the white. And I think too, I might use white, maybe a little bit more of a subtle color. And the red, it's a good choice, but I wouldn't keep it this wide because I want my eyes to be inside the frame, not on the outside looking at the framing. But well done. I just think that you're very talented to be able to do this. So well done. All right. And that finishes your second area of evaluating. And again, I am so sorry that I had issues with my internet or Zoom, whatever it was, but it really was a pleasure to be able to share my passion for ICM and ICM multiple exposure. And I do really want to encourage you that I am very willing to help you guys. You're not alone in this journey. You have my phone number. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I spend more time on Facebook than Instagram, as Facebook has my 365 in it. So I will eventually have one image for each day. And I usually post about a week at a time. So usually pop up 7 more, 8 more. And but please do contact me. ICM, you're learning a whole new skill set, and it goes against everything that you have been working with as a photographer, moving your camera on purpose instead of working so hard to hold it still and steady. But, please contact me. I look forward to being on this journey with you. And thank you to Heidi, who made this possible, bringing me through. I look forward to meeting you all in real life at one point. And thank you to Jane and Karen as well. Really appreciated the opportunity. Thank you so much. All right, now.